Hey everybody, it's Sunday, so that means it's time for another edition of Sunday Storytime. This week I have a returning guest that you've probably seen, although it's been quite a while. I have Mr. Wendel, who happens to be a ferret. So, domesticated ferrets can actually make pretty cool pets, although they are thieves. So the Latin name ferretus actually means little thief. So that's how they get their name ferret. And they like stealing lots of different things from your house. So sometimes they'll steal keys, sometimes they'll steal remote controls, sometimes they like stealing toys. They literally live up to their name as little thief. Now, the reason they became pets though is they started out as protecting grain silos and different vegetables and stuff on farms, because these guys like hunting small rodents. So they'll eat mice and rats and even birds. And they're really, really good at doing it because even though he's got this long, lanky body, you kind of see he looks like a furry slinky, he can fold himself in half. Look at that. He can put his nose right to his own tail. So that means they can go down like a rodent hole and sniff it around, and if they want to come back out, they can literally fold themselves in half and come right back out the other way, making them a pretty good hunter. Now, there's lots of different ferrets around the world. Even in the United States, we have black-footed ferrets out west, but those guys are a protected species and they were almost thought to be extinct, but lots of zoos are working to bring them back. These ones are thought to be descendants of the European polecat. Now, a polecat looks very similar to a ferret. They're all part of the Mustelidae family, which is like weasels, skunks, and things like that. Basically anybody who can smell, or does smell, I should say, because he can be a little bit stinky, but that's just kind of a ferret's nature. Now, I brought Wendel back to do this story because Kirby, who owns Wendel and helps run this store, brought a cool book called Wendels Workshop. It's by Chris Riddell, and we figured since it has Wendel's name in it, we're just going to go ahead and read the book right to him. So, hopefully he settles down a little bit while I read him his story. Okay, Wendels Workshop. Wendel was an inventor. Sometimes his inventions worked perfectly, and sometimes they didn't. When they didn't, Wendel just threw them away and started again. Wendel invented all day and into the night. Sometimes he was so busy inventing he forgot to go to bed, and he never had time to tidy up. Wendel's workshop became untidier and untidier and untidier. Oh no, I need some help, Wendel said to himself. So Wendel invented a robot. I'll call you Clunk, said Wendel. Clunk set to work tidying Wendel's workshop. He made the bed, folded the clothes, and mopped the floor. Oh dear, said Wendel. Clunk tried harder. He put the teacups in the sock drawer and filled the laundry basket with umbrellas. This isn't working, said Wendel, so he threw Clunk down the rubbish chute. Clunk. And onto the scrap heap. Inside the workshop, Wendel was inventing a new robot. He worked all night and into the morning, and at last, it was finished. I'll call you the Wendelbot, said Wendel. Tidy, said the Wendelbot, its red eyes glowing. Tidy, and it set to work. The Wendelbot worked perfectly, and Wendel was pleased. But the Wendelbot didn't stop. Its red eyes glowed as it unmade the bed and into a neat bundle and crushed the teacups to a tidy pile of powder. Tidy, the Wendelbot said as it shredded the umbrellas and flattened the laundry basket. Tidy! Soon everything was neat and tidy, all except one thing. Tidy, cried the Wendelbot as it chased Wendel around the workshop. Help, squeaked Wendel as he shot down the rubbish chute and onto the scrap heap. Then, from quite close by, Wendel heard a clunk. I'm so pleased to see you, said Wendel. From inside the workshop, the noise of the Wendelbots hammering and bashing grew louder and louder. We need some help, said Wendel, but all we've got is rubbish. Clank reached down and handed Wendel an interesting piece of scrap. Wendel smiled, and then he began to invent. All day and into the night, Wendel and Clank went to work hard. As the sun rose, the hammering and bashing from Wendel's workshop stopped. Workshop tidy, said Wendelbot. It turned its glowing red eyes toward the window. Now, tidy the world. The Wendelbot strode across the workshop and threw open the door. Good morning, said Wendel. The Wendelbot's eyes glowed red. Tidy, it said. Untidy, untidy, Wendel and his robot helper shouted as they ran inside. Tidy, cried the Wendelbot, lumbering after him, but the robots were too quick. The Wendelbot's eyes glowed brighter and brighter as Wendel's workshop grew untidier and untidier. Tide, 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 bang! When the dust had settled, Wendel sighed. Now we'll have to tidy up again, he said, but not too much this time. All the robots helped, in their different ways. Not everything worked perfectly, but Wendel didn't mind. He just smiled, patched this, mended that, and made adjustments here and there. But there was one thing he didn't do. Wendel never threw anything on the scrap heap again. The end. So, this is a pretty cool book about how sometimes it's really easy to dismiss something as junk, but really it could still have a purpose. Now, you don't want to be a hoarder and just hang on to everything, but some of the stuff that Wendel had was still perfectly usable, and he just didn't think it was. And then he found out later on it really was for certain purposes. So, sometimes we have to realize that with like old toys and tools and things like that, that although it may not serve a function right now, it can, or it may serve a function for a different purpose, or somebody else may be able to use it. So next time you decide that you think you're just going to throw away a bunch of old toys or books or something like that, remember, you might be able to use them, or even better, somebody else might be able to use them. So that's why it's good to donate stuff to like Goodwill and things like that. So, or to like little brothers and little sisters, or friends' little brothers and little sisters, because they can always use that kind of stuff. So, hope you guys learned a lot about ferrets, and I hope you had fun with Wendels Workshop, and we'll see you next week.